Blog Talk Radio.
Home of the stars, through the airwaves and on the big screen. Coming to you live from Hollywood, it's Rated G Radio with your host, Garrett Miller. Good evening. This is your host, Garrett, and we are going to be welcoming back to the show Mark DePena tonight. I'm calling him the Sydney Surfer for the show, and it turns out that I thought it was a cute rhyme, but it is completely wrong. Mark, welcome back to the show.
Oh, thank you, Garrett. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
You're great. Can you hear me? I'm trying a new headset tonight.
Yeah, it's fine. It's going good.
Fine. Okay, so before we get started with your poetry, we need to figure out what we're going, because I love calling you the Sydney Surfer. It's like you're a superhero or something when I call you that, but all of your friends are giving you a hard time because it's geographically completely wrong.
No, we made a mistake with because of Mary Lou, we had that as the Gold Coast, and the Gold Coast, as I said last time, is about 1,000 k's north of Sydney. So the Sydney Surfer's okay, although surfing is, although I love it, I'm only average. Don't think I'm some sort of special person when it comes to surfing, but it's a passion that I really love to do.
Mark, it's my show,
and
fine. You are a spectacular surfer. You're the best surfer I know. So the name sticks.
You're the only surfer I know. You're the only surfer you know, right?
Well,
thanks, mate. I love your promotion. I really do.
In Australia.
I love your promotion, but I'm not worthy of it. But it's good fun, and I'm sure they'll give me a hard time about it. But look, it's really good just to be on it, and I really appreciate your time. So that's the main thing. But yeah, so how are you going? I heard you got some pretty bad bushfires in California at the moment.
Well, they say that, but I just don't even have a clue on where any of that stuff is going on, because it's not anywhere that's relative or close to where I'm at. So if we've got the brush fires going on, I'm really sorry for that being the case wherever it's at here in California. But here at the beach, it's probably about 28 degrees Celsius today. So we've had a quite lovely day. I think it's been a little bit chilly, but a little bit cooler than it's been the last couple of days here. But it's still been quite nice. How is it where you're at?
Yeah, I just got out of the water just then. There's a little bit of a southerly change come up overnight, and look, the water temp's pretty good. It's just the wind factor. If a couple of days ago we had beautiful days, you could have gone in board shorts, but the water temps dropped off a touch, but it's still fine, and it's just good to get out in this time of the year. I love this time of the year. It's the offshore breezes and such, but you're sort of like in the you're in your middle of summer now, aren't you? Virtually.
Well, it's officially, and I don't know why it's so late in the season, but officially summer starts here June 22nd. So I guess that's this week, but officially. Yeah. Or unofficially, I'd say it's probably closer to around, May 20th, May 25th, something like that. But, you're splitting hairs at that point. Yeah.
We sort of had this. Everyone's got the lurgy over the man flu, I call it. My wife's got it really bad, and I've had it. That's why I'm trying to get in the water and clean it out of my system. But it's knocked a few people around in Australia, and the biggest problem was I went and had one of those flu shots, and I've never had them before, and coincidentally, two weeks later I get this flu, and I've never had it like this. It just keeps on biting me back. I think I'm getting rid of it, and then it just bites you back. But look, it's fine. I can put up with it now. But a typical man. I'm probably guilty of the man flu bit and whinging more than ever. But it's just one of those things. But yeah, it's been an up and down week for me. I lost a good mate through depression and suicide, and he took his life. So had the funeral this week. And
I'm very sad to hear that. I'm sorry for the loss of your friend. I want you to talk about that. I have a couple of questions for you afterwards. So tell me, what happened?
Well, look, I tell you, as I said, I told you in a couple of interviews there. Remember, we did the Robin Williams Behind a Smile section about depression last interview, didn't we? We talked on that. Well, basically, 10 years ago, I went through the depression, and when I came out of the hospital, I had all the whole shock treatment and everything, and Kevin was one of the first guys to come up to me, and I had no idea why he was really that concerned, and because I had no idea he suffered from depression pretty bad, and he was one of the first guys, and basically it wasn't until years later that I found out that he suffered himself, and he leaves a legacy of 4 young children, young in their 30s, and it's sad. It was a really good. It was a beautiful eulogy at the funeral. There was 500 people in the
wow
in the church, and it was just amazing. I was really it was a shock for a lot of people, and as I said, with depression, unless you've been through it yourself, and you don't know what people are thinking in their own eyes, in their own mind, and Kevin had his demons, obviously, and he took them to the grave, and it's sad, but life goes on, and it prompted me to write a poem about it, and it wasn't really appropriate to sort of do it on the day because the family had all the eulogies lined up and that, but I would have loved to have said it, but it's all based around depression and this thing about are you okay still, but I'd like to say that poem, because I never got a chance to say it at the funeral, and I know I've got a few friends that have picked up on the show today that I'd like to just say it over the air if that's okay,
That'd be great, please.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, as I said, was he's 55 years old, and mate, outwardly he had this happy-go-lucky life, and obviously there was a few demons there that he found out his cancer was going to be. He'd fought all this before years ago and battled it and got over it. And it was, I think, lymphoma or cancer of the chest or something like that. I'm not real sure of the details there, but someone said that he found out that he was going to be. It was terminal, and I think he just had to. That was the way he addressed it, and it's sad because he had so much to give. He was such a generous guy, and even when he was in the cancer part there, I noticed at the funeral there's a lot of people that obviously have been with chemotherapy and such, just looking at them, and they were representing on behalf of Kevin, and he's done a lot of charity work for those sort of people, and it's just you found out all these things at the funeral more than you'd ever had known that what he'd done, and some of the eulogies and the speeches were just incredible. What come out, and how good this guy was, and you just don't know what happens behind someone's mind, But this, I call it Rest in Peace, and it just goes like this. I'm just going to make sure I've got all the parts to this. There's 3 pages. So, rest in peace. R.I.P. to the ones we have lost. Life seems so cruel sometimes. When you've lost someone, you can't count the cost. Another space, another time. Rest in peace to a man who always showed a smile. But I guess he wasn't part of life's plan. I know we can't reconcile. That effect he had on others here, gonna miss his wonderful guy. When I was down, going back a few years, he was the first one to come and ask why. Life is cruel and just isn't fair to lose the ones so dear. Just want to let him know we all care. Let me make that perfectly clear. Rest in peace to a guy we call 10 Men. Well, that's just how it did seem. When it came to the sea, he was the one always scoping. He was living his ocean dream. So we all ask why a man was.
Well, this is the beauty of live radio sometimes, folks. It looks like Dip's connection was just lost a second ago. So have him call back in, and we'll have him join the show in just a quick moment. While we wait for Dip to call back in, I'll remind everybody that tomorrow night we have musician Troy Maturo on the line. He'll be with us for hour number 1 of the Friday Night Dance Party. We're going to be playing his album Infinity, and that album will be available, or it is available on iTunes and wherever music is sold. So you'll want to check that out with Troy Maturo. He is kind of like an electronics keyboard type of player, but you'll love his music if you are into... I don't really know who to compare him to. I've been listening to his stuff all week, and he's not really comparable to other artists. But Troy will be with us tomorrow night. But it's electronic. I don't want to say electronic dance music. You're going to think it's going to be like bang, bang, bang. It's not that at all. It's just electronic keyboard, and a great musician. So I hope you'll turn in tomorrow night for Troy Maturo on the Friday Night Dance Party. And Dip is back. Dip, we lost him mid-poem there, and I'm sorry to say that we didn't hear the whole thing.
Well, I was wondering. I just called you back. I'll just pick up on what that was. Will I start it again, or just pick up on where we were?
Well, just out of respect for your friend, would you mind just starting over with the whole poem? I think it's important for people to hear it from the beginning.
I don't know whether it was at our end or your end that we lost it.
I don't know, because it looked great, and then all of a sudden your line just disappeared from my call screen, so like it just went away.
Yeah, okay, well, hopefully it doesn't drop out again. Sorry, everyone, I apologise, it was my fault. So it goes, R.I.P. to the ones we have lost. Life seems so cruel sometimes. When you've lost someone, you can't count the cost. Another space, another time. Rest in peace to a man who always showed a smile, but I guess he wasn't part of life's plan. I know we can't reconcile that effect he had on others here. Gonna miss him, this wonderful guy. When I was down, going back a few years, he was the first one to come and ask why. Life is cruel and just isn't fair to lose the ones so dear. Just want to let him know we all care. Let me make that perfectly clear. Rest in peace to a guy we call 10 Men. Well, that's just how it did seem. When it came to the sea, he was the one always scoping. He was living his ocean dream. So, all we ask why a man with such zest, who had conquered more hurdles than others, could lead this full life, his enthusiasm impressed, but that black dog's bites deep, one discovers. Wish I had asked, are you okay? Just a little bit more than I did, but that facade of no worries was the one on display. His depression was one he well hid. To take his own life seems so unfair to his loved ones and the ones he did love. This great little guy just wish I was aware of the very things I had experience of. You see, the black dog is cruel, unpredictable, unexpected. You never know when this chain has been rattled. I feel such a fool having experienced what I expected, the very thing I have personally battled. So R.I.P. my little man of the sea, let us spread your ashes to the tide. You'll always be remembered, especially by me. Just wish I had made the effort to confide and talk about what we take for granted, that life is a precious thing. You leave us now to a world more enchanted. I now hear that fat lady sing. I now hear that fat lady sing. To Kev, may you find inner peace and happiness. You will be sorely missed by all of us lives you've touched. R.I.P. mate, different friends. So it was mainly just to talk about, what I'd experienced myself. So and I apologise that was lost halfway through because it lost the impact a bit, I suppose. But
I think it's important that I think it's important that you share the story again, and especially in a time like this when there's still people grieving and mourning the loss of their friend, so suddenly, and unfortunately that's taken him too soon.
Well, yeah, and like as I said last time in the last interview with Robin Williams and the poem that I have Behind a Smile, it's you just don't know. There's a lot of people. I've lost a lot of friends through depression, and it's not the first surfing friend that I've lost. And people question it and sort of get why this happens, and you just unless you've been experienced that depression, you just don't know how it can affect people. And I think the secret is to talk. And I just wish I had to talk more to Kevin, because outwardly I never knew he was suffering so badly, and it is sad, you know, that this happened, and yeah. So let's move on to something a bit more. I know that was my week. It took up a bit, and it was very, very sad for me. So, but I'd like to sort of move on a bit and probably you know, lighten it up a bit. And I've got a lot of poems here. As I said, there's 3,000 odd poems, and I was trying to pick a theme tonight that might be a bit more. So I've sort of written quite a few romance poems over the time, and as I said, I wrote the poem in my book with Lee that I read to her, and she was quite. She's not that fussed about my poetry, but I could see that she liked that one. So I've sort of enjoyed writing the romance ones, and I've written a few. So do you want to go down that line a bit?
Well, I think I would love to, but I'm going to ask you, what inspires your love poetry?
Oh, jeez. I'm a wife. I got to say that. I got to get the brownie points. Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? It's funny. I haven't got a romantic bone in my body. I'm sure of that, and it's funny. But I just find it.
But you speak so lovingly of your wife. I just don't buy this. I don't. This facade that you have of this unromantic guy. You talk so nicely about your wife. Okay.
Well, let's keep. No, look, it's. I don't know. Well, I just find the writing in rhyme and writing that stuff. Someone said, "Why don't you go to get a job for Hallmark?" I just find it really quite easy to write in 4-line rhyme, and I just love rhyming words, and that comes out. And as I said, I've got that. Friends that are great surf and ocean photographers, and the book that I want to put out is called Poems from the Sea, but it was sea poetry, and I've just got to get their blessing to use their images, because I want to do it as a full-on poetry book of images of their beautiful high-resolution photos, and have the poem that was inspired by the image next to in the page. So probably about 100 of those poems, and the biggest problem I've got, as I said last time, is culling down to an amount that would fit into a book, like a coffee table book. I still like the idea of the book that you can pick up and read in front of you and put it down, but that's that avenue. But today,
Diff, I'm telling you, I think that is a money making endeavor for you. If you did that with like 100 love poems, for example, you've got every anniversary, every Valentine's Day, you've got every Christmas, you could tie it in with that. I mean, you've got all major holidays covered with something like that. And you could then do it for the summer edition and talk about surfboards, or I mean, it's just you just turn your creative juices on, and then just figure out, okay, I'm going to group 100 poems that I've already written for love, and then you've got your Valentine's edition, and then maybe Easter, or you've got Halloween or Christmas or whatever it is you do, and you've got like this whole like Time Life book series that you could put out.
Yeah, you know what, Garrett? I've got enough poems for about 30 books if I really got serious.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I'd like to do, like, I've got the Poems from the Heart book and Poems from the Sea I'd like to do, and then Poems from the Soul. So to have a book set would be unreal. But at the moment, look, poetry is a passion and it's an obsession. And you ask my wife, she said, "You just spend your whole time on Facebook writing them." But at the end of the day it becomes a chore. I know I'll stop. But while I just love doing it, and I get reaction and it touches a heartstring, I just love to say them, and the opportunity to actually say them live, to say them how I want them to be said.
It's totally fun to have you come on here and do this. But I'm serious about book series though, because as much as your wife and your daughter like to go shopping into Hawaii and every place else, this might fund several of their adventures.
The other thing, as I said last time, I'm revisiting my poems, and because they're 4-line rhyme, I'm adding choruses to them and playing. It's all pretty green to me, songwriting, but this is the avenue I'd love to go down, and I've got a few friends that who can play music, and they put some words and voice, song and voice to my words, and I'd love to cut an album of my poems to music, and I've got a couple of good singers that are looking at doing it. I mean, you know, Megan did that song "Will to Fly" and a couple of others, and there's a couple of other musicians that have actually looked at it, and I've got a lady that's been on The Voice, our Australian version of The Voice, or
Sure.
You've got that in America. And she was an artist that was a friend of, as I go in to see a guitarist named Peter Northcote every Sunday in Sydney in the Bridge Hotel, and basically he has lead singing guests, and one of the guests was this Julianne De Sisto, and she was on The Voice, and Pete came over and at the end of the show and sat with me and talked, and she introduced me to him, and he introduced me to her, and he said, "Oh, Mark's writing some poems and putting lyrics for music," and she grabbed one, and she's in the middle of putting her voice and music to one, and I'm looking forward to that, because if it works and she really enjoys writing to them and singing to them, I'd love to put out an album of music. That would be the buzz for me, you know. So, but that's what I'm saying. I write in such a way that it's all basic, simple rhyme, and they all can be converted to music. Because let's face it, a lot of songs are virtually poetry to music in the way they're laid out, and so that would be where I'd like to head with my stuff and do my own show.
You've got something. I think it's a great idea. So it's one of those things that you have to do that, and you know you're not only your wife will love it, but your kids will love it, and then you know your grandkids, and it'll be a great legacy for you.
Well, as I said, I do get it's fun, and now that I'm sort of retired from work because of redundancy, I've got all the time in the world to pursue these things, and as long as I do all the little home projects, I'm looking over at my wife now in the room, and she's given me a little bit of to finish all the home projects. I'm sure that I can continue with doing the other things as well. But I'm making my way. I said to myself, I'll do something constructive a day at home, and I've just finished. As I said, I painted my daughter's bedroom when they were away in America and in Hawaii, and she had candy pink stripes, and I painted it white. And she came home, and she wasn't very impressed until. But now that it's all done, she's the neatest girl I've ever seen. It's changed her. So I'm loving this. So the more I paint the house out and clean it up, everyone's sort of appreciating it. So that's good brownie points, you know. So I can go surfing.
Yeah.
Got the. It's actually 4 months today, or yesterday, I've got that surf trip with my two boys to the Mentawai Islands, which is Mentawai, or Mentawais or Mentawai. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, because the father and son surf trip, it's a buzz. And I've taken my youngest son a few times, and my eldest boy hasn't been, and you know, he's recently married, and this is a little bit of a window before he starts to have his own children and everything. So I'm going to grab it and run with both hands with it, and hopefully we'll get some good surf for it. And like every trip I've been, it's my seventh trip there, and I've never had a bad trip where I haven't enjoyed it. And so this would be a buzz to get good waves for them, and have them both surf together. It's sort of like the ultimate surf trip to have you surf with your sons, I'd say.
Well, you know, Dip, I think that you don't have a bad time anywhere you go. I think it's only possible for you to be just so much full of fun and excitement wherever you're at. I can't imagine any place not being fun where you're at.
Well, you know what, Garrett, I got to admit, I am loving life, and I've got some great friends, and you know, Facebook's been a good platform for me to get my work out there, and poems, and people seem to, you know, bounce off it a bit, and others think, oh, he's a pain in the bum, he's always on there, he takes it. I think the main problem is I'm pretty prolific with writing, and I think a lot of people think, oh, Christ, here's another bloody poem, you know. They never stop, and I'm sure that if I just come up for breath and, you know, but you know what, if I don't write it on paper straight away, I get an image, especially the images. I see an image and I write to them, and if I don't put that down on paper straight away, I forget, and sometimes I've hit the wrong button, and I've lost the poem, and you know, I can't remember what I've written. So I've got to get it. Like I said, I can remember songs from the 70s, but I can't remember where I left my car keys. It's one of those things about getting to this age. Dementia's setting in. So that's why I've tried to keep all my poems. I'm in the middle of categorising them and culling them for the books and such.
Well, I think it's going to be good.
Go on.
It's going to happen when it's supposed to for you, Dip, and it's one of those where you're going to put it off for long enough, but then once you really dive into it, I'm not going to hear from you for about 8 or 9 months, and then all of a sudden you're going to come out of the woodwork and say, I've got 40 volumes ready to go, and we're going to put you on the shopping channel, and we're going to sell you on late night TV.
Yeah, right. I wish. No, look, as I said, it's while it's a passion and it's not a chore. It's not like I've got to plough it out because I need to for bread and butter. It's purely just fun and
sure.
So we've done a lot of chatting here. How about we do a few more poems? And
let's get some poetry. And just like always, for everybody who's listening tonight, we've got Mark DePena on the show. I call him the Sydney Surfer, even though he lives nowhere near Sydney. Well, DePena, sorry. So we call him Dip because that's what everybody calls him. And his nickname that I've given him is the Sydney Surfer, which is geographically incorrect for where he lives. So for everybody who's...
No. Sorry, mate.
No.
Sydney Surfer is correct. Gold Coast Surfer is incorrect.
Oh, it's the Gold Coast part. Oh, well, that's easy to fix. I thought it was the Sydney part that was wrong. And it's like, I don't want to change your nickname.
No.
Oh, goodness. Okay,
Sydney,
thank you.
Yeah, sorry, buddy. Sydney Surfer, yes, but Gold Coast is 1,000 k's north of Sydney. So,
well, guess what?
I'm in
while we're talking right now, I'm fixing the show page. So by the time you're finished reciting the next poem, it is now corrected, and you are never going to be referred to as the Gold Coast. You're just it's going to be live from Australia. The Sydney Surfer, Mark DePena is on the show. So there we go. So I've got you all corrected.
Fine. Look, just make sure that all the audience knows this is live, uncut, unedited.
Live, uncut.
And there's a lot of warts and all here. So this is what I love about
the fun part of doing this.
Like
this were
talking
taped
to
or something.
down the street.
Dip and I would be sitting here having too many pleasantries back and forth, and you'd think, oh my gosh, this is just the dumbest thing I've ever listened to ever. But, with live radio, you get the warts and all, so it's great.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Okay, well, look, I'll start with this one. I just called it Thank You. And sometimes I just, it's something like, might be a comment made or a quote or an image, but it just says, thank you for making me feel so special here. Thank you for just being you. Let me make it perfectly clear. We have a friendship that's so true. Whatever happens in the future, we'll always remain good friends. Friendship is like a healing suture. Hope this friendship never ends. To all my friends here on the book, and the very special ones to me, thanks for coming here to have a look at my rhyming poetry. Thanks for all your patience always. I am forever grateful. As I post prolifically all days, some shit, some quite distasteful. Thanks for hitting the like button sometimes and a comment or two. Thanks for putting up with my silly rhymes that I always seem to pursue. And lastly, thank you for being the person you are. Never ever change. It's great that we've been friends so far, although some might think it's strange. Dipster, with love. So it's sort of like just a thank you to all the people that have put up with me. So I thought that was quite apt considering what we're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, number one, thank you for getting me corrected geographically, but thank you for being a great friend of the show and coming on every month and sharing some of your talents.
I just really do appreciate the hour that you give me because, and I picked up quite a few friends in America and that, and as I said,
they love you.
Yeah, right. But, the Dip Tales Poems from the Heart page on Facebook, I've got about 1,400 followers all around the world, which is fantastic. And the reaction I get from them, just gives me the impetus to continue to write and for you to give me this time on the air, and whether it's 60 people or 6,000 people or 600,000, it's just great to be able to actually say them live. I just love to recite them. So, but now, Garrett, I sent you something on there, and you explained to me it's hard to upload, but a good friend of mine, Tez McKenna, and his girlfriend, they've been going for about a year, and he put an Instagram photo up of him and his girlfriend. It was called, and it had written "Megs and Me" on the Instagram, and I just looked at the photo, and I wrote this little poem about the picture, and he was pretty rapt with it, and he went to a site called Fiverr. Fiverr, and it's a site in America, and you pay $5 and they put music to anything you want in words. So he sent this poem that I'm about to read to you to America, and this guy wrote it as a rap poem and as a song, and I sent it to you, but you're not uploading the link, but you'll be able to see it yourself. But my friends on Facebook would be able to call Megs and Me, but I'll read you the poem, and then they can go to the link on my page and listen to what this guy did in America and put it to a rap song. It's quite interesting, actually. But so it's called Megs and Me, and you can imagine it's just Terry and Meg sort of cuddling on this Instagram photo, and it goes like this. Megs and me, we are a team. I'm her oyster, she's my pearl. Don't wake me from my perfect dream about this special girl. I believe in fate, I believe in destiny. Things happen for a reason. Just can't wait, you bring out the best in me. Your love is just so pleasing. Didn't think I'd meet someone who brings out the best in me. You'll always make this love and fun, my beauty by the sea. Megs and me like peaches and cream, the perfect combination. Don't wake me up from this perfect dream. I'm in loving hibernation. Don't know where I'd be right now if Megs didn't come along. So let me make this eternal vow, for I know where I belong. In the arms of my favourite girl, in the arms of my lover, like being under a perfect curl. I'll never want for another. To Megs from Tez. Now, the guy that Tez paid $5 for, virtually did that poem word for word and put a bit of a backing music to it. And so on my Facebook site is the poem that I wrote with Terry's picture, and then also is the actual song on a clip. I think it's called Clip Video, CLIP. It's all new to me, so I'm still getting the gist of my head around it. But if anyone wants to listen, they can go to my Facebook site, Mark DePena, dip in brackets, and they can hear it and listen to that. But apparently you can do that with anyone, any of the songs. Anyone, there's a $5 fee, and they actually put music to any words you want, whether it be rap or in classic music, R&B or whatever. But it's a good sign. Terry put me onto it yesterday when he sent me the actual finished product, and I was pretty impressed.
Well, I think it's great. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get it on in time for the show tonight. It's interesting. The site sometimes, and this is my fault, but we try to get it to download, but it will play, which is great. But unfortunately, with the radio, I need to download it to my computer, and then I have to upload it into the studio so I can press the play button. And the long and short of it, the technology just didn't let me do that today before the show time. So hopefully, we'll be able to do something like that next month. That's very cool that they have that available.
Yeah, he told me it's called Fiverr. It's Fiverr. I'm assuming it's pronounced Fiverr, but I'm going to look into it and try putting some of my other poems to music myself. So, okay, so getting on, as I said, I've been revisiting my poems and putting some choruses to them and also just writing poems as song lyrics as well. And this one's called I Need You More, and it's got a chorus. So when I say the chorus, I'll say it as if it's just in word. But it goes like this. I need you more than ever now. I need you more than ever. To you I make this solemn vow. we'll endure this stormy weather. I need to really let you know just what you mean to me. I really think I need to show the love you've set me free. I love you have set me free right here. I love you've set me free. Let me make it perfectly clear. You are the girl for me. When we're together, you light a flame that burns forever longer. When we're together in this love game, the flame glows forever stronger. And if that fire should ever die, the embers will always burn. For you are the one I tell no lie. You are the one I yearn. You are the one I yearn, my love. You are the one I yearn. I am your hand. You are my glove. I am love. I am here to learn. I am in love. I'm here to learn. So it sounds strange reading it as the words, but I'm trying to picture with music to it. And there's this lady that I said, Julianne's, the one that she's putting music to is quite a nice poem to do to, and she said, she'll change the some of the lines to work musically, I'm sure, and pull out a few prepositions and a few commas here and there. But when you're putting some of these, like song lyrics, you can read song lyrics and you can think, oh, that's not going to work, that's not going to rhyme. But it's the way the musician accentuates words or pauses the word. And I've read some lyrics of certain songs, and I've gone, that's not going to work when they put it to music, but it does because they know how they want to say it. That's why I like saying my poems, because some of my poems, people will go, that doesn't rhyme, the rhyme's wrong. But if you say the way I put, you know what I'm saying?
You're right,
and
right.
It's pretty typical, with that sort of thing. So continuing with the theme, and I'm also a bit more poems in this time because we usually end up chatting half the hour away.
Well, I don't get to talk to you very often, so it's kind of fun to be able to visit with you. But I know we want to do your poetry, so I want to make sure we have enough of that in there too, just to be respectful of the topic of the night.
Yeah, well, as I said with the with this, I mean, I'd ideally love to do my own sort of show, an audience for Dip and Friends, and have special guest musicians come up and play music to my poems. And I mean, that's down the track, and it's only a dream. But look, the more I think about people getting in there and putting music to my poems, the more I love to do it. But and plus the nursing home things, I've got to do a nursing home one with next month at a local nursing home, which is fun because I do it as a PowerPoint presentation where I put the image up on the wall, and I ask all the folk in the nursing home to look up at the image, and I'm on the lectern across the room, and I'm saying the words that inspire me from the picture, and they're looking at it. So other than the ones that are falling asleep in the front row, because they got, as I said, the joke is I could take one poem and just say it over and over because they got dementia anyway. But look, there's always someone in the audience that goes, "Oh, you said that last time," and so you got to be careful. You don't think they're all dementia and not some pretty clued on people in those nursing homes. And what I love about it is that they really appreciate it. And I said we did that, or would have been the second interview, I did that one called Gotta Face the Ugly Truth about getting old, and that's the one I can do it. I do that virtually off by heart now, and the one I get dressed up in with a cane and an Andy Cap hat and my dad's cardigan, and I put on my dad's voice, and they love that. And initially it was a bit, thought it's a bit close to the bone, but they really got a buzz out of me saying that, and just their reaction. And now I'm doing the schools with my friend from I went to school with in 6th class, and she's a librarian, English teacher at a local public school, and she asked me to come do a few of my poems to the kids, and I said, Kerry, they're too young, that's not going to work. And she said, no, you come up with your poems. So I went up that day and I said them, and that night, she said the next morning the kids come in with all poems written, and they went from knowing how to text on an iPhone to using grammar again. See, the whole thing was that Kerry said, look, they're losing their touch to say words, and basically she asked me to come back 2 weeks' time, and I walked into that room, and it was like a rock star. They come flying up, and they're cheering, and they come up with all their poems. And some of these kids, at 10 and 11, they were beautiful poems, and I put them on my Facebook site because I was pretty impressed with just how good they wrote. And she said they've just changed their whole attitude to the written word. And this is, as I said to you, I go to a local cafe and I sit and look out the window, and there'd be 4 tables with 3 lots of girls sitting there, and not one of them are conversing. They're all texting each other, and they're, 4 tables of 3 girls, and they're all texting. Not one of them's having a conversation. And it's sad, really, that we're losing the skill for conversation because of the modern iPhone. I don't even own a mobile phone, and much to my wife's disgust. But it's one of those things. I just find that the communication is lost. When you see your own kids texting someone in the front seat, from the back seat of the car, you think, well, that's getting that low. Or texting someone and that's out the front and they're going to go out. They don't knock on the door anymore. They just text. So the modern technology is good. They're great with their fingers and multitasking, but they're losing the ability to communicate, and it's sad. So.
Well, I'm on board with you, Dip. I don't have a cell phone any longer either, and people think I'm nuts. Technically, I can actually make calls out of my iPad, but I do that maybe once or twice a month, maybe, and if I absolutely have to. And my life is richer for not being so connected to the hip with another phone.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are saying you're mad, but look, I'm not a tradesman. I'm not working now. I don't really need it, and I make a shopping list. I don't have to. I go down the local shopping centre, and you go past the lady, and she's going, "And would you want me to get some sugar? You want me?" They're ringing up home, or the husband's getting a phone call from the wife saying, "Pick up the sugar," and I go,
"Right.
Hell, what happened to the days when you made a shopping list, So I walk in there with a foolscap page full of the shopping list, and I'm sure people go, "What the hell's this guy doing?" Reciting in the Coles. But so we'll get back to a few more poems, eh?
Oh, sure, please.
Keeping the same theme going, and this one's called "The Language of Love," and it's just another one of those Mills and Boone style things.
By the way,
mate?
before you read that, we've got Barbara in the chat room, and she says, "Hello, Dippy. This is Mum from America."
Barbara Martin. Yeah, I know Barbara. I've got a site I go to called Fan Story, and it's a site for like-minded poets and writers that enjoy to write. And you go on there and they critique your work and you give you ratings. And I met Barbara. She goes under the name of Country Ranch Writer, and she's on a farm somewhere in the middle of America. And she's sort of been a bit of a fan of mine, and she calls me son, and I call her mum. So we've had a good, and now she's sort of picked up on me on Facebook, and I was telling her about this interview today, and she said I'll get on there and I'll ring up. So it's great to hear from you, Barbara.
Yeah, thanks for joining in. That's cool.
Yeah, it is. I'm wrapped. I'm getting friends all over the world like that, and that's what I love about this. It's communicating and bringing people that through poetry that you'd never think you'd ever sort of. I've had people come up to me and say, "Look, I hate poetry. It really bugs me." But your rhymes are so simple to read and listen to that I can relate. So it makes you feel good when you hit a nerve or you hit an emotion when you read. So getting back to this, the language of love. It goes like this: the language of love is universal. Everyone understands. In life's play, there's no dress rehearsal. You must pander to love's demands. Everyone can speak the language of love. It's the same in every dialect. Everyone can read the emotion thereof. Its intentions are always correct. Take this language in both hands and run as fast as hell. Every lover understands. You don't need to have to spell. Just 4 letters make up this word, but its meaning is universal. I don't think you'd find this absurd. Its intentions not controversial. So, the language of love.
There you go.
So, there you go. Didn't think I could ever write like that. Someone challenged me. This is interesting. Someone challenged me the fact that he said, oh, yeah, it's all in rhyme. It's rhyme, rhyme, rhyme. So I decided to try and write a few non-rhyming verse and just to challenge myself, really. And I wrote this one called Maybe, Maybe. And to me, it's just a series of sentences. But on this fan story, it's funny that I got more likes and more ratings for that poem that was non-rhyming verse, which I don't usually get a buzz out of writing. I'd rather rhyme. But so it's called Maybe, May We, and it goes like this. Maybe in another time, another space, another place, maybe this was always meant to be. Maybe things happen for a reason. Maybe life deals us these chance liaisons. Maybe life is one continual journey of serendipity. Maybe you and me was not an accident. Maybe it was meant to happen. Maybe our love was a foregone conclusion along the path we call life. Maybe we enjoy and cherish our time together. May we love often and smile and laugh longer. May we always be lovers. May we always be soulmates. May we make each other always feel special. May we hold each other forever. May we savour every precious moment together. May we let each other pursue our passion. May we give each other time and space alone when we want it. May we make love constantly when we need it. May we let each other go. Maybe happiness in each other's arms was always meant to be. So that was probably, to me, that's just a series of lines. But
let me ask you this. So how did you feel writing that it's not this 4-line rhyme that you are famous for, but you took a risk and you're doing something different?
Do you know what? I sort of can understand. I don't see it as poetry to me, but that's just because I look at poetry. Look, I don't really look at poems. I'm not a Wordsworth or a Shakespeare. I just got a buzz from rhyming, and I know that grammatically, and the poet Nazis would have a ball with my stuff. They'd tell me my syllabic counts out on my iambic technometer. There's all these sort of phrases in poetry that you're supposed to follow and discipline, and I don't follow any of them, and that's why I like reading them, because they're saying that my rhythm's out and my beat and my cadence is out, and all these technical terms that I'm not that interested in. I just like to write from the heart, and that's how I read them. So to get the opportunity to read them live is so much easier and so much enjoyable, because I know that it's how I want them to be heard, so that's why I like to do it that way. But getting back to your question, look, I can see validity in both. I just like the challenge of rhyming, because you've got to make words sort of make sense as well as rhyme. And I always wondered about that, when you rhyme in, say, another dialect, when the French do a French poem. And see, with English, you got like place, pace, reason, season. They're words that end in and when you put them into a sentence that make into a rhyming verse, but they not only rhyme phonetically, but that they actually have to make sense in what they mean. So when you convert an English song to French, they phonetically won't rhyme. So when they write it in French or German or whatever, they're writing it to make it rhyme. So it's interesting that I've always questioned that, but it seems to work in other languages, the actual interpretation. But so here's another one. This one's called Head Over Heels. So it's still on the same theme. That was just a one-off. I thought I'd tease you with that one.
I
there is
love
another
that.
one here. Yeah. Oh yeah. Look, I'll do this one first. Yeah. Okay. This is another one, a non-rhyming. It's called Sleep Sweetly, My Love, and it goes like this: Sleep sweetly, my love. Let me watch you slumber on the pillow. Breathe softly, my love, for the night is ours and ours alone. Let the moonlight shine through the open window of love. Let the moon's rays reflect and highlight the curves of your body. Let me kiss you softly on your lips as you sleep. Let me hold you in my arms forever. Let us be as one. It is our destiny. It is our hope. It is our dream. And when you wake, May the first person you see be me. And when you smile, may that smile reach me always. When you cry, I want to be the one who wipes away those tears. When you laugh, I want to be the one who laughs with you. When you love, I want to be the one with you, the one you love. It is our time together, and when one of us is taken from us another's arms, let those memories live on forever. Yeah, so they're the only two I've actually got together to put as non-rhyming verse, but it's probably the way I say it. It's not probably the proper way. I've got to learn to get a bit of a radio voice, I suppose. But I mean, I'm the worst critic. I hate my voice. I hate it with a passion. It just sounds shocking, but I'm sure that other people, get used to it.
When I get feedback on the show, I get so many people complimenting you on your tone and your voice, and they probably are in love with your accent. At least, from here in the States, I think anytime we have anybody on that has an accent, we just kind of melt. So you have a lot of charm over here.
I have that joke with you, when you mentioned that once before, I said, yeah. I said, what do you want me to talk about, Garrett? And you said, mate, you can talk about shit. They just love your accent.
See? It's true. Get out your phone book and
just
start reading the directory.
If only. You know what? It's funny because I've got a friend on Fan Story. His name's RG Star, and he's an African American guy, and he's living in England actually, and he's got the most amazing. If I was ever going to have a bromance for a man's voice, it's this guy. He does his voice. He does his poems to audio, and honestly, they are just incredible. And I'm actually his biggest fan. I just can't believe how his voice is, and I just love to have a radio voice. It'd be just amazing because I'm sure some people's voice is just great at someone, and I'm hoping that that's not my voice because that's the worst. You hear voices and you go.
You don't have to worry about that. I would tell you, Dip, can we just have somebody else recite your poems? You don't really have to call in. If you had a really terrible voice, I'd tell you.
Yeah, well, that's great because I did a show. I did a radio images. It was called Radio Packages. When I was getting made redundant, the company offered me to do courses, and I picked up a course that I could do in 2 days, and it was radio voiceover. And I took some of my poems in because I thought, well, if these guys are voiceover, radio voiceover, that do ads and such, I might get them to read them how they would interpret my poems. And this lady that was there, there was two, it was a guy and a lady. They were doing the course together, and she did one of my poems. And honestly, one off the cuff, and I could not believe what a difference it made to have someone that has a radio voice to say them so emotionally and never read them before, and she was great. And I'd love to do that. I'd love to have someone that was a celebrity on a radio program to do how they feel and interpret my poems, because I interpret them the way I want to. And I'm sure that other people would accentuate the words a bit different, and that's the beauty of poetry and the beauty of interpretation. What one person's trash is another person's treasure, I'm sure. And so I've got this poem here. Don, we must get pretty close.
Be careful what you wish for. You may end up having a whole slew of celebrities read it, and you'll find that each of them enunciates on the wrong consonant or vowel, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's not how it's supposed to go.
Yeah, I can imagine that too. But look, I'm sure there is a YouTube site that you can go to where you can actually recite your poems. I know that. Well, I do know there is one because I got onto a fellow that actually, it was actually called Poems from the Heart. I was intrigued because that's what I called my book, and he did a poem and he did it in his voice, and it was just so nice to hear. And it's amazing how the written word, it doesn't have to be in song, it can just be spoken, The
Right.
spoken word can still have the same emotion as the musical word. So it doesn't have to be a song, but to have that backing music, just like a guitar or a piano, just in the back while you're saying your poem, that's what I love to do. If I did a show, I'd like to have someone play music in the background, or have some sort of, like, if I'm going to do a sea poem, have the sound of the wave behind me as I'm saying the words.
Oh yeah,
and,
that'd be perfect.
Yeah, and I'm sure that it can be done, and that's where I'd like to head to. Look, it's all these different ideas in my head, and at the moment I just am enjoying writing. So, this one, I know we're getting close on time here. It's amazing how quick that hour goes, isn't it?
I know, it's crazy.
You really think it is crazy. This one's called Head Over Heels, and same sort of. Like I say, I could nearly do a whole book of romance poems again. Like the first book was called Poems from the Heart, but they weren't all just exactly romance poems. But to do an album of romance poems to music would be just a buzz. I'd love to have someone to grab all these and because I know they can convert easily to rhyme to music because of the rhyme pattern. And this one's called Head Over Heels, and it goes like this. Head over heels, it's just how I feel. I'll start again. Head over heels, it's just how one feels. Head over heels in love. The feeling's so strong, it's where I belong. Please take in the words here above. I'm sick with desire, you're what I need and require. I fight it every day. I've thrown down my guard in this regard. No more words I needed to say. I'm a victim of love, just can't get enough. I'm trying to fight the feeling. When love fits like a glove and you need it thereof, it's really hard to hold back what you're concealing. Head over heels, I know how a lover feels. It gives you a beautiful high. Must contain these emotions as big as 7 oceans and as high as the clouds in the sky. Dedicated to all lovers out there.
There you go.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, Dip, we're at a point where we need to kind of wrap things up here. So, do you have one more real short poem, or do you want to tell us?
I got this last one. Yeah, we'll do
okay,
this.
cool.
I know it says 12:56. So it's called Together, and it goes like this: If we are going to fall, we are going to fall together. Summer, winter, all we'll endure all type of weather. If we fall in love, we'll fall in love together. Like a signal from above, a love that will never sever. If we are to be happy, we'll be happy, so happy together. No time to feel crappy, I'll grab your heartstring and just tether. If one of us does leave, I'll always hold the key to it. For this love I do believe was destined from the start. If we are ever sad, we'll be sad together. For it's with you and I am so glad we'll ride out this weather. Together is a bond, a love, a friendship, a situation. I love the way you respond. It yearns for reciprocation. Together we are one, my dreams, my hopes, my desire. You are my moon, you are my sun. You are my lust, you are my fire. And should the flames of love subside, the spark will always be something we could never hide. You bring out the best in me. Yeah. So that's romance for the day. We might try sea poems next week.
I think that's a great place to wrap up for tonight. And everybody, it's been Dip on the show. He's the Sydney Surfer. We've got that cleared up, so I've got the show blog listing you correctly. I've gotten rid of that horribly incorrect geographic reference that's no longer there. And so until next month, I'm going to say thank you very much for being on the show. A real quick reminder for everybody, tomorrow night we have Troy Maturo on the line. We're going to be playing his album Infinity in hour number 1. And if you're here in the United States tomorrow, across the land, we expect the Supreme Court of the United States to rule on marriage equality. We hope that it goes the way the overwhelming sentiment of the country feels at this point. And with that, we're going to end with a little Gay Wedding by yours truly. If you like it, go into iTunes and get it for 99 cents. But if you go to my website, you can actually get the song for free. Just go to GarrettMiller.com. It's my gift to you, and we will see you live on Friday. Dip, hang on.
Thanks, man.
what we've done. Hey, Mr. Second to no one. Hey, Mr. our time has come. Hey, Mr. marry your true love. Hey, Mr. Hot Bun. It's a nice day to start again. It's a nice day for a gay wedding. It's a nice day to start again.
You've been listening to Rated G Radio.